The following is a presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. Broadcasting from the campus of Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is on the air. Your chance to hear from Liberty Women's Basketball head coach Carey Green comes your way on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show is also brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices, nobody. Sentry Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at sentryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
The Hodges with 5 at the top of the arc. She dumps it inside to Smuda. Smuda scoops to the hoop and scores. Beautifully run offense by the Lady Flames.
Now let's talk Liberty Flames women's basketball. Here's your host, the voice of the Lady Flames, Jamie Hall.
Welcome into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We got a great program ahead for you today. We're going to catch up with Coach Carey Green a little bit later on as the Lady Flames, we weren't able to do a show last week because of the snow and the ice that moved through the area. So we've got a lot of games to kind of catch up on. Lady Flames were at La Tech. They were at Sam Houston. Then most recently they played New Mexico State and UTEP, and they're heading down to FIU. So we got a lot of games to talk about. Coach will be on to do that here in just a little bit. But right now we've got Maleah Alexander, and the reason that I say the emphasis on your last name is because when we were talking before we started recording here, I completely botched it. And okay. Normally you try to hide those mistakes, right. But whenever you start off a conversation, because we really don't know each other particularly well. We've had a couple of chit-chats along the way during this season, but you're redshirting this year, and so we haven't got to see you on the court yet. Right. See you behind the scenes, practicing with the team, shoot-arounds and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a great starting point for me. Right. The very first time we kind of were formally introducing ourselves to each other, and I completely botched your name, and you probably get that a little bit with your first name. Right. It's kind of unique. Right. Yeah. I get a lot of Maleahs, Maliyahs, but yeah, it's all good. And you even, when we talk about your last name, Alexander, you've got a famous relative that I'd say 99% of our audience as sports fans are probably going to know, Shaun Alexander, who played in the NFL. Yep. So my uncle, Shaun Alexander, he played for the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL for a couple years. So yeah, a lot of people know him, especially around my hometown. I actually grew up in the same area that my dad and Shaun grew up in. So a lot of people know us there. And then, even here, like a lot of people, very, very well known around here. Does that put any, just a little bit of pressure on the rest of the family to kind of live up to that athletic standard? No, actually, we have a lot of athletes in our family. So, we're just blessed to be able to represent, Christ and then represent our last name, Alexander. So no pressure at all. And he also played at the University of Alabama, is that right? And so, I think you have another connection to the University of Alabama, even beyond Shaun? Yeah, so my grandpa played under Bear Bryant, and then my mom went there, and she actually worked in the football office at Alabama. So a lot of people there, Roll Tide. So, yeah. That's got to be tough growing up or living in Kentucky and with a rival SEC school, and you've probably got some of the Alabama gear from your mom or from your uncle, and so is the rivalry? And I know Kentucky's more of a basketball state, but is the rivalry still pretty strong? Kentucky, Alabama up there? Yeah, actually it is. Yeah, definitely. Obviously, SEC is very competitive.
But when it came to football, we were definitely Bama fans for sure. We went to games and all that. But when it came to basketball, we were actually more UK fans and stuff. So it just kind of went back and forth, but more Bama, yeah.
And Burlington is, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a Kentucky expert, but it's kind of more in the northern part of the state.
Right. Yep. So we're in northern Kentucky near Cincinnati, like right on the border of Cincinnati, Ohio.
So the airport's probably pretty close to you then.
Yeah. So CVG, actually, when you land in CVG, like you actually land in Kentucky. It's in Hebron, Kentucky, which is literally like 10 minutes from my house, the town right next to me. And then you drive a little bit to Cincinnati. So, yeah.
So it's pretty easy to get in and out of town if you need to. You're right at the airport.
Exactly.
It's kind of a funny story. Coach Green's mother, you can see her house when you fly into Knoxville Airport.
Oh, really?
So she lives right at that airport, and you live not quite as close, but you live close to the airport up there. Yeah,
exactly.
Flown in and out of and been delayed many times.
I'm sure. And it's a little bumpy going into Cincinnati. There's always some bad like turbulence and stuff. But yes, it's very convenient and nice for sure.
What's something interesting about that part of Kentucky that maybe we wouldn't know about?
Ooh. So I'm pretty close to the Ark Encounter and the Creation Museum. I don't know if you've heard of those, but that's like pretty close to my house. The Creation Museum's like 15 minutes, and then the Ark is about like 30 to 40. And so it's really, really cool. Like the Ark is literally like the dimensions of the Ark in the Bible, and you can go in and you can like explore and read about, you know, the Ark and how it started, and then all the, you know, like Noah and everything like that. So those are definitely really cool exhibits that I like grew up. The Ark is more new, but Creation Museum, like I grew up going to, and it's like a very well-known place like all over the world. So yeah.
When you go into the Ark, do you have to buy tickets in twos, or you just
No, it's just standard,
going one at a time? Yeah. It's all right. I feel like you don't want to be. You didn't want to be a third wheel back in those days.
No,
because you weren't getting on
that boat.
Yeah, unless you were a fish, you were in trouble.
Right.
Okay, well, there we go. That's pretty cool.
Other than that, it's pretty typical, like just country, farmland, you know, nothing too crazy.
We took a trip, this was a long time ago, with football, and I can't remember. And you know what? I'm even making part of this up. I wasn't on this trip. This is a third party story.
Okay.
There were other trips that I went on with football that the guys that went on that trip would say, hey, you remember when we went to Kentucky? And I can't remember if it was when they were playing Eastern Kentucky or Western Kentucky, but it was somewhere in Kentucky. Uh-huh. I know it's a big difference from one side of the state to the other, and you're like Northern Kentucky. But and they said that there was a restaurant that had a buffet that said something like 13 different types of meats. And they started doing the math on that. It's like, okay, if beef is a meat and chicken's a meat and fish is a meat, and they got to where they were having to talk about, you think they have squirrel? Like, where are we going here?
Oof.
Or we're not talking about your part of Kentucky.
No, that's got to be Southern. That's got to be, I don't even know what part, but Kentucky has some interesting things. I think we should just stick to the fried chicken, we up in Northern Kentucky, we have like chili. So like Skyline chili, Gold Star chili. So like, I think we need to stick to that and not go crazy on the meats.
So that's where you would take some. If somebody was coming up there for the first time, would you take them to Skyline chili?
Probably Skyline, and probably Grater's ice cream is like our main like ice cream up there.
Oh, you're talking my language with the ice cream. The Skyline chili I can kind of take. I like normal chili.
Yeah.
Skyline chili works good on a hot dog.
Yes.
But I don't know if I could, because I think people eat it maybe on top of spaghetti
and cheese. Yeah, it's very interesting. You either like love it or hate it. And so, yeah, I mean, that's definitely,
What was the caliber of basketball like up in that area of the country?
Kentucky is very competitive. So in high school, it's really interesting. There's no like classes or divisions for basketball. There's literally one state champion.
Wow.
So you
It's
can
like Hoosiers.
imagine.
It's like the old movie Hoosiers.
So you can imagine, like, you've got small private schools, you've got big public schools, all that, and we are all combined into one. So when it comes to the Sweet 16, that's our basketball, like, KHSAA tournament, there's one state champion. So when you're the champion, like, you are legit, like, the top, like, basketball school in Kentucky. It's crazy. Yeah. So it's super competitive every single year. And it's really crazy that, like, you know, it's unfortunate that sometimes, like, these private schools that can recruit and, you know, all this stuff, like, usually are the ones to win or whatever. But I mean, there's been many circumstances of these public schools, you know, you just happen to all live in the same area and they pull out the win. So it's really competitive for sure.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Is it almost like if you were a smaller school and you go, unless we can pull off a Hoosiers, you know, some just crazy run and you beat the team that's stacked and all that.
Yeah.
Is it almost like, okay, if we get to the playoffs, if we get to this certain accomplishment, it's almost like, well, we've maybe accomplished all that we can?
No, literally.
Yeah.
Like, if you make it to the tournament, like, that is a huge deal to win, like, your region and everything like that. So my team, actually, we went to the state tournament 3 times out of my 4 years. And so, like, that was even just a huge accomplishment just to make it into the tournament. Yeah.
Wow. It's a different mindset because you go to other states and there might be 8 different state champions and maybe even the smaller states, states smaller than Kentucky, probably still have multiple state champions.
Exactly. Like Ohio, I mean, right across the border, you know, there's like D1, D2, D3, like all these different, you know, and they're like, they were the state champions of D1. They were the state champions. So it's just like different, you know, but makes it really competitive.
Well, we talked about your uncle, and you mentioned, let's see, and you mentioned your grandfather at Alabama. Mm-hmm. Any other family members that are athletes, any siblings that were competitive growing up?
Yeah, so my brother, Austin, he is currently at UNC. So he's at North Carolina. He's an incoming freshman. So he had graduated early this past December. And he's now there starting to train with the team. He's now a full student. So yeah, he's football. And so we were very competitive growing up, you know, to just big athletes. But we are super, super close. So we're only 14 months apart. So we grew up playing sports together and then obviously playing, you know, in the backyard, playing basketball or whatever. Not necessarily football for me, but we're super close.
Did you ever try to play a little touch football?
Yeah, I played some two and touch and flag football and stuff like that. But obviously, as he got a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, you know. So, so really excited for him.
How big is he? You mentioned bigger, stronger. What's his stats?
Yeah, so he's 6'4". He's like 245, 240. He's a defensive end. So he loves defense, going after the quarterback. So, yeah, he's excited for this upcoming year, especially with the new coach and everything like that.
Oh yeah,
definitely a little bit
different. That was my
different.
next question. Yeah, has he got to? I'm sure he's got to meet Coach Belichick by now.
Yeah.
And what's his initial response to the new coach?
Yeah, well, he loved Coach Brown. He loved Mac Brown, but he really thinks that Coach Belichick is really gonna like push them into like a real like championship team. And you know, North Carolina's been struggling a little bit, so I think they need that kind of edge, that little push, and obviously Belichick's going to bring in the right people too to be able to do that. So right now he said that they're kind of just doing some workouts and that kind of stuff. They haven't fully gotten into like, you know, full practices or anything like that. But as of right now, he's like, they're pretty tough and really competitive. So yeah, he's excited.
So you said 6'4", 240?
Yeah. Yeah,
don't mess with Maleah because her brother's only about 2 hours down the road.
Right, exactly, which is so fun. We're already like planning. He came for a game. I've been down there already, so it's really exciting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The fact that, you know, you guys, you haven't gone crazy far from home. It's not like you went to California, but you've left the state, but you're still close enough that you can visit each other and go to each other's games. That'll be awesome.
Yes, yeah, I'm really excited for this fall for sure. Yeah. So other than Austin, so I have a cousin here at Liberty that runs track. She's a freshman. And then I had a cousin, she swam at FAU. I have a cousin that's actually in the NFL right now. He plays for the Lions. Oh, wow. So just, and then I have a lot of upcoming, like younger cousins that are going to be playing and looking at colleges and stuff. So definitely the athletic gene kind of runs in our family, and it's, it's fun to be able to, talk to everybody, and, it's nice too to be able to like relate to some of those who have been through the student athlete life. And so it's really cool.
Outside of the flag football, did you play any other sports more officially, I guess, growing up?
Yeah. So soccer was a big sport for me. I played all the way from middle school, like when I was young, and then up until high school. So I did club soccer as well. So traveled. I went, traveled to Seattle and New Jersey and Buffalo and all these places for soccer. So that was like a really big sport. I wanted to do basketball and soccer possibly in college, and then I considered playing soccer, but then obviously I ultimately decided on basketball.
What was what pushed basketball over the top?
Yeah, I just think, when it came down to how much I want to spend time on the sport, like, do I want to be on the field? Do I want to be in the gym? Like, I ultimately loved the game of basketball and wanted to be in the gym.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. We're speaking with Maleah Alexander, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about this season for you as a red shirt and how you've adjusted to college and what you're studying and all the stuff like that. Maybe get to a few things off the court as well. We'll be back with more of the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show right after this.
What's important isn't that Freedom First has been in business since 1956. What's important is how we've been doing business since 1956. Since day one, we have been accountable to our members, not stockholders. We make loans that cost less, offer savings plans that pay more, and give back to our community, and that hasn't changed. What has changed is our ability to serve you with more locations and more technology to simplify your financial life. Freedom First. It's a place where anyone in our region can bank for good.
Start the new year with a new ride and the biggest savings yet from Lynchburg Nissan. Get $10,700 off MSRP, 0% for 72 months, and up to 40 miles per gallon. Plus, drive with confidence thanks to our 1,000,000-mile warranty. This is your moment to make that move you've been waiting for. With rates this low and discounts this high, the time to act is now. Stop by, call, or visit us online before the best selection is gone. Lynchburg Nissan, home of the 1,000,000-mile warranty.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Turn up the heat. Foster Fuels is a proud partner of Liberty Athletics. Fostering warm moments for 100 years, Foster has been providing exceptional propane and gas services throughout Central Virginia and surrounding areas. From propane to fireplaces and tank installs to tankless water heaters, Foster does it all. Visit fosterfuels.com or download the app to order fuel, pay your bill, and more. Get the customer service you deserve and turn up the heat with Foster Fuels and the Liberty Flames.
Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. With a focus on honesty, education, and excellence, they light the way to savings, home comfort, and a greener future. Educating homeowners about the power of solar and energy efficiency is their winning game plan. Give Earthright Mid-Atlantic a call today at 434-200-9716 or visit erepower.com.
Welcome back into the show. We're here with Maleah Alexander, Lady Flames freshman red shirt, and I know some of the fans maybe don't completely understand that concept. Mm-hmm. you don't see it as much in football anymore. That used to be a really big thing. You almost didn't play your freshman year.
Yeah, my uncle redshirted his freshman year.
And you're talking about an all-world athlete and still redshirted their freshman year.
Yeah.
So you don't see it as much. Tell us a little bit about the process behind deciding to redshirt this year and how you've kind of been able to benefit from that.
Yeah, so it's actually kind of like a long story, but to make it short, so I came in as a walk-on, and so we had, at the time, 16 full players on the roster. Now, originally, Conference USA said that we could only travel 15 on the roster. So with that in mind, and then with me just, being a freshman, trying new things this year, learning the ropes of, Liberty basketball and everything, I just realized kind of what my role was and what was going on. And through just really talking with Coach Green and the other coaches, I was talking to my parents. I have some mentors off the court. They had brought up this idea of possibly redshirting. So just to, I wouldn't play this year, and, just to be able to have a year where I can develop, where I can learn, grow in this amazing environment of being a Division I athlete. So at first I was a little bit skeptical. I'm like, not playing, then could this affect a possibility of earning a scholarship? What does this kind of look like? But really just through a lot of prayer, I felt like this was the route that I needed to take. And I knew at the time Emmy was going to be redshirting, and then Efi was also kind of on the fence. So it was kind of like, okay, if they might, maybe it is a good idea. We'll see. So I ended up just through a lot of prayer, a lot of conversations, I just decided that I was going to declare redshirt. So yeah, and so here we are.
Practice, though, pretty much full scale, correct?
Right,
And so you've been able to play under the Emma Hesses and the Asia Boones and the Jordan Hodges as far as at your guard position.
Exactly.
Now, were you more of a shooting guard or a point guard in high school?
More of a shooting guard in high school, but a little bit of point here and there. Yeah.
Which are you more comfortable at the two?
I honestly like doing both. I am a little bit more comfortable at the two, but I also like being at the one. But my main thing is defense. I love defense, getting up on girls, getting on their best player and locking them down. That was my thing in high school that I was pretty well known for. So
wow,
yeah,
you don't hear that very often, that somebody's excited about defense.
Yeah.
Usually that's just an obstacle in the way of getting back on offense.
Right. Yeah, no, that was my main thing. I was always put on the best girl on the other team. I did like to shoot a little bit. I have a semi-quick first step, but my main thing is the defensive side. So honestly, any guard position I played, but it was mainly, that I was on that defensive end, locking down the other girls. So
I believe it was Efi that said, when we asked, I was like, what are we going to see out of Maleah next year? And I think the first thing she said is, she's so fast. So you may be funny. Kind of understating a little bit that quickness. So without embarrassing you, did you do any have you ever timed your 40 or anything like that?
I haven't, no, but a lot of people, know for me for also being very quick. So yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So we got that to look forward to.
Yes.
You're gonna get where you need to go in a hurry.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if someone is got the basketball, you're gonna do your best to try to take that away from them.
Yep. I'm the one diving on loose balls, getting on the floor, that hustle and gritty, that hustle and gritty player. So that's more of my style of game.
Oh, sweet. That's pretty cool. Because we see so many, and I don't want to say, I'm hesitant to say that it's hurt the game.
Yeah.
But Steph Curry was so good at what he did, but not everybody can be Steph Curry. Shooting from the logo, taking these unbelievably athletic jumpers, and not many people can certainly do that anywhere, but from 30 feet, he's just making it look like it's nothing. And so it kind of evolved the game a little bit to where even into the women's game. And now you got Caitlin Clark, who's kind of doing the same thing, and she's the most popular player in the world. And it's affected. I know you correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I think it has affected the women's game to where it's not quite the NBA of threes and dunks and that's it. Right. But the mid range and playing hard defense and diving on the floor and doing the things that we kind of used to. And going back to the Hoosier, reference, or I don't know how much you watch basketball games from the 80s and stuff, but the Larry Birds of the world that would, whether it was for his health best interest or not, he was diving all over the place. And so do you kind of feel that way, that you're almost a throwback by playing that way?
Yeah. Just in high school, I was not known for padding the stats and everything like that, when it came to points and all that stuff. And like you were saying, a lot of that is now the main thing that's recognized is the points and shooting the threes and all of that. And, but for me, I was still recognized, and people were like, oh, she's different because she does this that not a lot of other people are doing. So, I really just tried to really stay confident in myself and tell myself this is making a difference. And my coaches in high school and on my AAU teams were keep doing that. This is what we really need. And so just that's like you said, it's definitely not as, I guess, I wouldn't say accepted, but I guess praised, I guess. Right. But it's just such a key part of the game, and I'm willing to be different than what, other people might, I guess say that the game is all about, So no, I like it.
It's almost like you're incorporating a little bit of that football heritage that you've got in your family.
For sure.
Making things a little dirty.
Right. Yeah. I might not be super tall, but I'm gonna be physical. I'm gonna get up in you, and yeah.
That's pretty cool. What about off the court? How would you describe, if someone said, we got to write a bio on you, but not basketball.
Okay.
It's everything but basketball. What would be in that paragraph?
Oh gosh. I'm very much a leader. I feel like I'm a natural born leader. I like to take charge, but also I love just talking with people. I'm very much a talker. I like to extrovert. Yeah, I'm super nice and sweet. A lot of the girls say I'm like their little sister that just kind of goes around and just hangs out with everybody, and including everybody and everything. But I also love my time alone too, and just very calm, very collected, peaceful. So I think that would be kind of about me. I don't know. I don't like talking about myself that much, so probably humble. I don't know.
What are the things that you do when you're not playing basketball? If you're not studying, we'll get to the studying in a minute.
Yeah.
But when you're not studying and you're not playing basketball, what are you doing to keep yourself entertained?
Honestly, I love doing puzzles. I'm a big puzzler. I like to do.
When you say, what do you consider a puzzle?
Like a jigsaw puzzle.
Okay.
So I have one in my dorm right now that I'm working on or whatever.
Not like the puzzles that Coach Green gives sometimes.
Oh no, not the brain teasers.
The brain teasers. Okay. Yeah.
No. Actually jigsaw ones, I guess.
What's the biggest one you've ever done?
2,000.
And I asked that question not even really
not even
what is impressive.
2,000's pretty big. I mean, the average is 500
How
to
much space does 2,000 take up?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I did it on my dining room table, so it's a big.
What did you guys eat?
Not at the dining room table. No, No, it's like the one like we have our dining room and then like the one in like the kitchen. So
the formal dining
The
room.
formal,
So you can't be doing that around Thanksgiving because then you got trouble. But the rest of the year you can probably get away with.
Right. Yeah. And then I like to like watch movies and stuff, and then obviously hang out with like my friends and family for sure. Mm-hmm.
And what are you studying?
So I'm sports psychology is my major. Mm-hmm.
What does that mean practically?
So like, what do I want to do with it? So I want to be a sports psychologist and be like a counselor to athletes. So I would love to be like a team psychologist. So like travel with the team or just like be with a team and just talk with the athletes, whether they're dealing with stuff on the court, like if that's like performance anxiety or confidence, or off the court. So if they're dealing with things off the court that might affect their performance on the court. So I really wanted to do this because this is something that I like kind of like struggled with just like confidence and things I was going through off the court that was affecting me with my performance. And so that was throughout high school. I actually worked with a sports psychologist. And it really helped me a lot. And so it was just something that I want to do in order to kind of like give back and be able to help other athletes, because the game is so much more mental than it is physical. But, we literally spend all our time working on our physical side of the game rather than the mental side of the game. So it's just something that I really wanted to do. And I love studying the brain and learning about the mind and everything like that. So, yeah, that's why I kind of got into it. And that's what I kind of want to do with it.
And there's so much going on off the court now as well.
Yes.
As far as, usually you didn't have to think about some of those types of things until you were in the professional level, but now it's kind of trickled down to college, and it'll probably eventually get down to the high school level as well. So
exactly. There's so many more things with pressure, and that even more, than when I was, in high school and even now. So it's like, there's just a lot, and a lot of times athletes don't have really that actual genuine support that they need, So I want to be able to do that.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the stressors that you guys are dealing with are totally different than the stressors that the generation before you were dealing with. I'm not necessarily saying that theirs were invalid and yours are, anything like that.
Right.
It's just things have evolved and changed a lot over the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Just imagine someone who went through and I know you did in high school, COVID, and having to go through all that, and what extra that threw on an athlete's plate of having to, some states you're having to play with a mask on, and your practices are limited, or whole seasons got wiped out, and spring athletes that were playing in 2020, their whole season got knocked out. So you would have been probably around a freshman around that time? So
Freshman, 8th grade year, freshman year,
Yeah, and I know there's so many people that are probably saying, I don't want to even hear that word again. We got through it. Let's forget about it. But how did it kind of affect things for you in high school?
Yeah. So, gosh, I was trying to think. So it was my 8th grade, like the end of my 8th grade year when first things got shut down. And in Kentucky, it was pretty they were pretty strict on us with going back to school. We were virtual, then half of us went, and then we all went for a couple days, and then they went back to virtual. It was kind of crazy. But for season, so we had soccer in the fall in Kentucky, so that we actually did play that season. It was less games. We had to we didn't have to wear masks on the field, which thank God. If we had to wear masks while we were playing, there's no way. I don't know how people did that. But we did kind of have that season. It was just so weird, so they had some rules, but not others. You can wear it then, but it's just so weird. And then we did have it again for that basketball season, but our bench was separated and we had to wear masks off the court. It was just so weird, but and I think it did kind of affect kind of my freshman, like my class, like, because we weren't with each other, but but I'm grateful that it wasn't like, because some people like senior year like that really didn't have a whole graduation or anything like that. So while it was hard, like I'm grateful that it was kind of then for me, and I had a great, my parents were great about like making sure we were staying on top of our schoolwork. And then Austin and I, since it was just kind of us together, like we worked out together, we were training together, whether that was like outside or in our garage or something like that. So it was kind of a good little like developmental year, but I mean, still just, awful, honestly.
It's crazy. When you were telling us that story, it kind of hit me that 8th grade into 9th grade was when it hit you.
Yeah.
And we're now that far removed that next year, the freshmen coming in are going to go, well, I was just in 7th grade. It wasn't that big of a deal. And then the year after, it's amazing how time has kind of flown since then. Things seem to slow down so much during COVID because of what we were dealing with. But now, since then, that was basically 5 years ago was when it was happening or starting. So, okay, last question for you. What are some hidden talents, something that maybe, the average person wouldn't know about you? What, singing, dancing, playing an instrument?
Oh gosh.
Anything along those lines? Like if there was a Lady Flames talent competition, what would you sign up for?
I don't know. I mean, I did play the piano a little bit in middle school. I was taking piano lessons. My brother's the big piano.
Really?
Yeah, he loves the piano.
Wow.
He plays it. Yeah, he's a big
6'4", 240.
You would not guess, guys.
And he's playing the piano like he's
he can like if you tell him like a song, like he knows all the chords. So like he'll just like look it up and like just play.
Wow.
It's amazing. And then I did a little bit of percussion in middle school as well in the band. My dad played the drums in college. He went to Notre Dame and he did like the quad. So we kind of get our musical from him a little bit. So I did do that, but gosh, I'm not really like, I didn't like carry that on like Austin did. I was kind of like, I'm just going to stick to like sports and stuff. But I do love like speaking and stuff. So like I did a lot of like communication stuff with like my church, and I like doing this like, little podcast or whatever. Like this is like definitely in my wheelhouse, like public speaking. Like, but
Could you see yourself doing something like I know sports psych is kind of your main thing, but you could also always do a little broadcasting on the side or coaching.
Possibly coaching. I don't know. I've thought about it, but then I'm also like, I don't know, but definitely sport broadcasting. Like I thought about doing that for a while, as a major or whatever. I just kind of like, the sideline reporting, and that kind of stuff. So I don't know. That's kind of more my thing, but who knows?
All right.
We'll see.
I guarantee you that if you decide to go that route, the one thing that you will not do is get somebody's name wrong.
You never know. You never know. It happens. It's okay.
As you get older, there's these. I don't know what it is, but I feel like that there's these little electrons in your brain that just go to sleep sometimes. And then you go, what did I say?
Right.
And then I said that. Oh. I called Coach Young, Coach Brown. How did I manage doing that? Like, I don't even know what part of those two names are even similar. But every once in a while, that's something that you got to look forward to. And 20 or 30 years, you got plenty of time. But when you get to that age, there's just every once in a while, your brain just leaves the building. Yeah. But your mouth doesn't.
Right.
Your mouth keeps going, and your brain has stopped long ago. Well, Maleah, welcome to Lynchburg. It's funny me saying you've been here for a long time. The first time that we've had a couple of, like I said, we've talked a little bit on some of these road trips, and I will say this, and again, not trying to embarrass you, there's some of the Lady Flames, and not just Lady Flames, some of the other sports that I cover, that you walk past somebody, you go, hey, what's going on, and you go, I've been around person X for 6 months now, and we've kind of acknowledged each other, but we've never really had a conversation. And then you have that first conversation, and it's a little subdued. You are one of the more friendly people.
Aww,
like, even though we really haven't formally been introduced to each other, but yeah, super friendly. And I will put I will add that to your bio. You can put the quote from me under there too. So
thank you so much.
We wish you all the best as you transition out of this red shirt to playing some basketball next year.
Yeah,
we're looking forward
I'm
to
really
it.
excited for sure. I'm really excited.
We'll be back with head coach Carey Green right after this here on the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show.
At Carter Bank, we believe life is best lived full of opportunities and dreams, of goals achieved and promises kept. We've been creating opportunities for more people and businesses to prosper since 1974. That means great local lending, convenient access to your money, accounts and guidance that make it easier to get more done. We are Carter Bank, the preferred community bank of Liberty Flames Athletics. Visit carterbank.com to learn more. Member FDIC, Equal Opportunity Lender.
Curious about the Central Virginia housing market? Carl Miller Realty are your caring, competent, trusted advisors for real estate sales in Central Virginia. With over 100 years of combined experience, they are committed to helping clients make informed housing decisions. For a winning game plan and to discover the value of your home, visit carlmillerrealty.com to make your next move a slam dunk.
You're listening to the Liberty Women's Basketball Show, presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Today's show will continue after this 1-minute timeout on the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.
Thompson Brooks Insurance has been serving Virginia for over 40 years, helping individuals and businesses with their insurance and investment needs. The team at Thompson Brooks is experienced in understanding life and health insurance, Medicare, and retirement planning. Thompson Brooks Insurance can be reached at 434-385-8500 or online at thompsonbrooksinsurance.com. Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow.
Century Exteriors offers exterior home renovations, including but not limited to gutters, roofing, siding, home additions, and much more. Century Exteriors makes the process seamless. Call 434-239-6722 for a free on-site estimate or visit centuryexteriors.com and Century Exteriors on Facebook and Instagram. Century Exteriors is a proud supporter of Liberty Flames Athletics.
Back into this week's Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show. We're now joined by head coach Carey Green. Welcome into the show.
Thank you, Jamie.
Last week at this time, we didn't get to have a show because there was snow and then ice, and then we were dealing with power outages and trees falling all over the place. I know you had a tree fall. I had a tree fall. It was not pretty. My transition question out of that is, we've got some weather that we're dealing with this week as well. When you have those, now fortunately it didn't affect any ball games, but it certainly affects practices. How do you manage that when school's closed and some of the girls are off campus? They might not have an easy job of getting to the arena to practice.
Yeah, you're on the phone a lot and you're asking a lot of questions and you're having a lot of consulting moments, I guess. For us, it really starts with a trainer and strength training coach. Can we get them here, especially the trainer? So Laura Macuso, it starts with her. We got to make sure that we can get a facility. It's open, and then the next thing is getting in contact with all my staff. Because there was one that somebody couldn't get out, so another coach went and picked them up. So it's just a lot of communication, and we can work it out.
I noticed that you hired coaches that are from up north so they can deal with this kind of stuff. We're talking Michigan and New Jersey, and so you've got some assistants that know how to maneuver.
Yeah, they're used to the snow and bad weather.
By not having a show last week, we didn't get to kind of touch on the previous weekend. We'll just do that very quickly. The game at La Tech, the game at Sam Houston, tough loss, 1-point loss against Louisiana Tech, but your team was able to bounce back and get the win at Sam Houston.
Yeah, La Tech, we had played about even with them for the most part of the game. They're well coached. They execute their offenses very, very well. We're going into the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead. We started that fourth quarter not too good because we'd finished the third quarter with our bench. Bench came in. I think our starters had maybe a 4 or 5 point lead, and bench raised it up to about 10-point lead. And it's time to go back with your starters. And the first two possessions, they made a 3 and a 2. Now it's a 5-point game again. And it was a battle, and we should have defended a little bit better. We should have executed our offense a little bit better. But it's hard to beat somebody when they go 8 from 9 from the field, 4 for 5 from threes, and like 4 for 5 or whatever it was from the foul line. They basically missed one shot from 3-point line and from the field, and one from a free throw line, and to lose by 1. They made a big shot. We had a chance with the loose ball on the floor and just couldn't tie it up, but we had to bounce back 2 days later and played pretty good at a real scrappy Sam Houston State. I think the conversation in the locker room was, unfortunately, it's not what I want for motivation, but we were angry birds, okay? The flame was pretty hot in the locker room. That is before the Sam Houston State game. So, I don't think you wanted to play us after that 1-point loss, and they were pretty angry. So we responded pretty well then. And if you want to, last week, emotional week, we're back home and playing a very tough New Mexico State team on a Thursday with the conference leading scorer and probably good chance that she may be the conference player of the year, certainly the offensive player of the year. Molly Kaiser's an excellent ball player, and she had gotten 31 points on us, and we needed to really focus on her and make her life tough. And we did a little bit. She got 25 on us, but overall, a good win, but we just separated it in the last 2 minutes or last minute. I think we had a 10-point lead in that game, and they came back and scored, I think, 23 points in the fourth quarter on us, and we executed at the end, got the stops at the end, and walked away with maybe a 7-point win or whatever it was. But it was against a quality team, a 5-point win, and a team that had taken Middle Tennessee, who is seeded right now number 1 in the conference, in overtime. They could have beaten them. So they're a tough team, and that was a great win back at home. We know it's going to be tough.
Let me ask you a quick question about Molly Kaiser, because something stands out about her. When you usually see players that are putting up 22, 25 points a game, 30, 31, they're shooting a ton of threes, and that's really not her game. She can shoot the three, she's got the range, but she really takes advantage of the mid-range of the court, which we don't see as much in the game anymore.
No, well, it's a tough shot. Everybody wants to shoot a three, and everybody wants to shoot a layup, and we're no different. The toughest shot in basketball is the pull-up jumper, and she's unique in that she can do that. She's very strong. She can make the three, but she chooses not to shoot it, and she doesn't shoot it at a real high rate. So she's attacking the rim, trying to get to the rim, shoot a layup if she needs to, pull up jumper, and she gets to the free throw line a lot. I think she was 9 for 10 against us, or 10 for 10 against us. So she's getting points at the foul line. So she's aggressive with the ball in her hand.
Next game was UTEP, a 67-53 win on Saturday.
A very emotional day. That was senior day. The emotions were high, and the butterflies were flying in formation, so we came out and directed all of our energy from the very beginning of the game, and just gradually kept pulling away in that game, and some great contributions from everybody. It was certainly a great team win.
Now you go on the road. It's the travel partner week, so you don't have a Thursday game. You go down to FIU on Saturday. Last time you played, it was an 83-54 win here in Liberty Arena, and you outshot them 59% to 36%. You also got a +10 in rebounding against a very physical team that kind of prides themselves in getting on the glass.
Yeah, it's one of the better games that we played at home. Shooting percentage, I think we started off really well, and I expect the game to be much tougher. They've got outstanding post play. Currently, their post player is #1 in the nation in field goal percentage. So you got to reflect back. She's a Maya Berkman type of player, or a Katie Feenster type of player, somebody just dominating. They get around the basket, and if they make shots, and I think last week their freshman, one of the freshmen was named Freshman Player of the Week. She had 2 good games, rebounded well, so they're a dangerous team playing at home and very capable, and probably want to revenge their disappointing loss here at Liberty. And we shot again. We played very well in that game.
Last thing for you, Coach, as we take a look at the basketball standings, Middle Tennessee still at the top of the ladder, and depending on what they do Thursday, we'll see where you're at. You could be in a tie for first, or you could be a game behind on Saturday. You control your destiny in that if you win out, you're going to at least be tied for the regular season championship, and then it would come down to the tiebreakers because you would have split with Middle Tennessee. If you get some help from someone else and you win out, then you'd have it all to yourself. So considering it, I guess if we were having this conversation back in December, are you happy with the way things have panned out, a 11-2 record?
Well, no. I'd like to be undefeated, sitting on top. But I'm not going to put all my energy on that. We talk with our team about their player development and how their chemistry is, and having the head and the heart in the right place, and our focus is the right thing. That's what I'm trying to focus on, and hopefully the players will do that as well. We can only control what we can control, and that's how we prepare for the very next game and how we finish 3 games on the road and 2 games at home. That's how we're going to finish the season out, and then hopefully what we're doing in practice and how we're developing and how we're preparing, I know will be impacting those last 5 games. So I want to win it all, but that's taking my eye off the ball. I want to hit it over the fence, and here comes the fastball, which I'm great at hitting a fastball, and I'm looking at the fence and pointing my bat at it's going to go over right there, and the fastball's by me. So you got to stay focused, and really proud of how the girls did on Saturday with all the emotions of senior day and a large number, a great crowd that game, and it was a great time together.
And I would be remiss if I didn't also say Western Kentucky is right there on your heels. They're just 2 games out, and they have a game here in Liberty Arena too. So if you take your eye off, if you're only focusing ahead, there could be somebody that could catch you from behind as well.
Yeah. I mean, we can just control what we can control, and we need just to prepare to be our very best every day.
It's like that NASCAR reference. William Byron wins the Daytona 500, and you're looking out the windshield, but you got to look in the mirror a little bit too and see those teams that are coming up from behind, see those cars that are coming up from behind. In his case, he was just doing his best to avoid a wreck, and I think that's probably a metaphor for coaches as well.
Yeah, certainly. See you.
Coach, we appreciate your time. Wish you the best this week. We'll see you down in Miami, which should be a little bit nicer weather than what we're going to be leaving from here in Lynchburg.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie.
That was Coach Carey Green. This week's Liberty Flames women's basketball show comes to a close. You will have a couple more chances to see the Lady Flames in Liberty Arena. A couple of huge games at the end of the month, actually the beginning of next month, the beginning of March, when Middle Tennessee comes to town, and then Western Kentucky. A lot will be on the line. Go to libertyflames.com and you can get your tickets to those games. We'll be following along with the Lady Flames as they're on the road the next 3 games, and you can listen and watch in on Facebook or YouTube, or just, again, go to libertyflames.com. All the information you need is right there and on their social media handles. Until we talk then, this is Jamie Hall saying so long and God bless.
You've been listening to the Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Radio Show with head coach Carey Green. Today's show has been presented by Freedom First Credit Union. Start banking with Freedom First today. The Liberty Flames Women's Basketball Show has also been brought to you by Carter Bank, Life Lived Full, Earthright Mid-Atlantic, your trusted solar and energy efficiency experts. By Foster Fuels, providing reliable service for 100 years. Freedom Heating and Air, serving those who serve us. Carl Miller Realty, caring, competent, trusted advisors. Lynchburg Nissan, nobody beats our prices. Nobody. Century Exteriors, experience and quality you can trust. Schedule a free estimate at centuryexteriors.com. And by Thompson Brooks Insurance, planning today for tomorrow. Liberty Flames Basketball is an exclusive presentation of the Liberty Flames Sports Network from Van Wagner.